Hello viewers, thank you for joining us on this episode. It is Economic Insights and I'm your host, Paul Kingsley. Now, in continuation with the ongoing report we are doing on housing deficits in Nigeria, today we are talking about this unfortunate scenario. You agree with me that we are having over 22 million housing deficits in Nigeria. Now, there are a lot of people that have dedicated their time. I'm talking of individual companies that have dedicated their resources, their time in cushioning this effect when it comes to the housing development in Nigeria. And also you agree that the government is doing their own part in order to create affordable homes for Nigerians. But we have, like I said, a company that are doing so well in this industry. I'm talking of Niu Properties and Investments Ltd. Yeah, we have with us the Chief Operating Officer is Clem Betse. We shall be discussing on their contribution and also the challenges affecting the sector. It promised to be an interesting conversation. Just sit back, relax. I'll be back after this time out.
Housing for all is something successive governments have taught it for decades. However, according to the World Bank, Nigeria's housing deficit has risen to a staggering 22 million units. With its commitment to providing affordable and quality homes to Nigerians, Niu Properties and Investments Ltd is introducing creativity to the housing sector. Clem Betse is the Chief Operating Officer.
Niu Properties is a company that is wholly indigenous and registered here in Nigeria. We are basically into building construction. We are property developers and facilities managers. We've been around for some time and we've done quite a number of notable projects here in the FCT. In recent times, we've moved into real estate development, basically to meet the needs of our clients, whom over the years have been impressed with the quality of our services and our disposition towards ensuring that our customers get maximum satisfaction. So basically, Niu Properties is a solution provider. Our dream is to ensure that those who desire affordable yet fantastic living spaces in the FCT gain access to such at prices that are affordable, and they're happy. They have peace of mind at the end of the day. So that is what we're about. That is what we set out every day to accomplish here at Niu Properties.
Niu Properties and Investments Ltd is striving to become one of the leading players in the housing sector in Nigeria, with the aim of delivering accessible and affordable homes to
We've been around for
Nigerians.
some time. We actually started out as building contractors. We did that job so well that after a while, our customers began to, engage us to manage those facilities that we built. And it went beyond just managing those facilities. After a while, we became like an encyclopedia for information regarding access to finance, regarding rates and investment choices and all of that. So after a while, we decided, okay, the smart thing to do is to simply aggregate our services to include financing, investment advice, property development and all of that, so that we're there to meet basically most of the needs of our clients, particularly as regards real estate.
The company is highly equipped with young dynamic management and technical team to execute any given task in its field of endeavors.
We've done quite a number of projects, notable projects across the FCT. We are the developers of Patfield Mall in Gwarimpa. We're also the developers of Smart Bridge Plaza at Utako. These two developments are commercial facilities each of them has between 30 and 35, functional spaces for lease. And we've had these structures for over 5 years. The feedback we've gotten from our customers and our tenants is that apart from the functionality of those spaces, they've enjoyed a fantastic working relationship with us as the developers and the facilities managers. We've also done quite a number of projects, residential developments across the city, good number of them. And one thing that stands NIU out is that our customers have peace of mind. For us, that is the overriding objective. Yes, we're in business, we're making profit, but we seek to ensure that our customers enjoy peace of mind in dealing with us. They spend their money, they entrust their money to developers and people that respect them and respect their money. And that is what we've enjoyed these past few years.
Challenges are often a breeding ground for innovation, and property developers like Niu Properties are finding ingenious ways to tackle funding and other challenges. The government is also being challenged to become more flexible in its approach to lands and infrastructure allocation with an eye on the long-term benefits.
Quite a number of them, from regulation, the challenges that comes with some of our regulatory setup arrangements here that don't favor private business. The macroeconomic issues such as taxation, interest rates, exchange rates, all those things are things that affect the ease of doing business around here. For those of us who are developers, you also have the issue of access to land and viable and valid title. Those are challenges that make business a very rigorous process around here. Then there's the problem of the technological gap. We have very poor internet facilities around, so promoting your business, like with ease, like you'd have it if we were in other climes, is also something that's very difficult around here. Of course, the issue of power cannot be overemphasized. You need power to do manufacturing. 80% of what we use in our industry is imported because we cannot manufacture those things locally because you don't have power. So the challenges are huge. Of course, insecurity is also a huge problem for us as developers, because now you don't just have to spend money acquiring a plot to develop. You're also spending huge sums of money, not just to secure the workers, to secure the property, but also even secure your customers that come in to take up these developments. So there are quite a number of them. The houses are just too expensive. The houses are just too expensive for the average working class person in Nigeria to afford a decent house. And the reason it is so, there are quite a number of them. It's not just one reason. Like I mentioned earlier, we may need to revisit our Land Use Act. It's very important we look at our Land Use Act and we examine those areas that constrict access to land. For us as developers, if we have greater access to land, if we have greater access to valid and viable title, then it becomes easier for us to raise finance. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to pay for the house. Somebody's going to pay for it to be produced, and then eventually it gets into the hands of the person that will live there, and so on. So we need to revisit the Land Use Act. We need to undo those constrictions that make it harder for us to gain access to viable and valid title. In doing so, we're going to make it easier for developers to access finance. And then if it's easier for us to access finance, then it's easier for us to actually deliver houses that people can afford. You also have the issue of technology. Most of what we are doing around here is imported. Most of the materials we are using to deliver houses here is imported. And so there's a premium on that as well that you can eliminate if we are producing our materials here locally. Our steel industry, for instance, is somewhat we need to look at. We need to work on our local steel industry. If we're producing all the steel or most of the steel that we require, that is going to go a long way in lowering the overall cost of delivering buildings. And then of course it will be cheaper when you have to transfer that to the homeowner. I've also personally advocated for increased investment in research and development when it comes to, building materials. I believe that locally we have very good building materials that if we invest more in developing such, then we can come up with homemade, building technology that is affordable, that is domesticated, that we have easier access to. At the end of the day, they still meet global standards and requirements, but then our people, our people have access to decent accommodation. So there's a whole lot. There are government restrictions and policies that have also not exactly served the private sector, playing a greater role in the delivery of homes. So, these and so many other factors have contributed to keeping us where we have been in terms of bridging the housing deficit. And I'm sure if we make it a priority, if government begins to do what she needs to do, then we'll be moving a lot closer towards bridging that gap. Developers are businessmen. At the end of the day, it's business, and the moral thing to do in business is to make profit as much of it as you possibly can. There is nowhere in the world where you have commercial developers investing huge sums of money in social housing. What you're talking about is social housing, building for the poor. Now, if I'm building for the poor, then there has to be a very strong incentive for doing that. Otherwise, I'm in this to make money. I'm in this to make a profit. So, it's business sense to actually build houses for people that can pay for those houses. Everybody deserves a decent house. Housing and shelter is one of man's oldest needs. And like water and some other basic things of life, everybody should have access to decent housing. Now, that being established, the next thing is, okay, what are the needs? What are the complexities of these needs? We have three of them, basically. We have the luxury needs. We have building for the middle class, that is affordable housing, houses that people who work and earn some money can afford. And then you have the social housing category, that is building for those who don't earn an income at all or who have very low income. Now, my take has always been government should focus on providing houses for those who earn no income at all or too low an income to afford these houses. And then, having done that, government should now make it easier for business people, for developers like us, to now meet the needs of those who are in the middle class and then the luxury class. Because at the end of the day, there's really no money to be made building houses for the poor. And commercial developers like us are not, charity organizations that are actually designed for that purpose. So it is not immoral, really, that developers would go for luxury houses, because at the end of the day, he wants somebody to pay for his product. He wants somebody to pay for his product. Housing, as important as it is, as basic as it is, comes at a cost. There's money being spent. There's a financier that has made that money available, has probably put, is expecting a return on investment on his finance. So somebody has to pay for it. And so a smart developer will go for people that can pay, and then let it be the responsibility of government to ensure that everybody is catered for by investing in social housing.
In Nigeria today, mortgage financing schemes are still very at an infant stage in the adoption. Over the years, lack of an efficient and effective mortgage financing has remained a huge albatross on the country.
Well, my personal opinion is that it's not functional. It's not functional, and I won't blame the mortgage institutions. At the end of the day, it's still business, all right? These players are in the same economic climate as everyone else. They're having to deal with macroeconomic issues that affect business in Nigeria. So it's not a problem that is just at the feet of the players in the mortgage industry. It's a broader problem, like I said, in our economic space, and there are microeconomic issues such as the exchange rate, such as our interest rates, such as taxation, that these people have to weave their business decisions through. If you're going to finance mortgage, first and foremost, you need to have the money. Then you need to now look for people that can afford to service the mortgage facility, as it were. How many of them do you have around? How many working class people? We've had this issue of the minimum wage going back and forth and so on. At the end, like I said, it's business. There are bottom lines that have to be met. So even if I'm a mortgage institution, I'm looking out for someone that has the capacity to service my mortgage facility. And if I can't find too many of them, then there is no business. I won't just take money and then throw it around. In other climes where the mortgage system has worked, you also have a robust working class population, a working class population that earns a certain amount of money and can actually afford these things. They tell you that everybody who is working is entitled to own a home. Everybody who has a decent wage. So the questions we want to ask ourselves here is, do people have a decent wage that now qualifies them to own a house? If people in Nigeria don't have a decent wage, nobody's going to take that risk. That I know that people need houses doesn't mean I'm going to take those houses and just put it in their hands. The house came at a cost. You understand? The house came at a cost, and somebody's going to have to carry that cost. If you don't have the capacity to carry that cost, then I'm not making very wise and smart financial decisions. So we need to look at the broader picture. It's like I said, it's a larger, it's our economy as a whole. You know, there are macroeconomic issues that if we were able to fix them, then it will trickle down and affect even the mortgage industry. Our plan is to take over the larger chunk of the real estate market in the FCT in the next 3 years, because we're coming with something very different. For us, our objective primarily is to ensure that our customers have peace of mind. Buying property should not be something that, you know, that gives you hypertension. It should be a very seamless exercise. You should have developers that you can trust, people that are making full disclosure, people that are giving prices that are not cutthroat, people that deliver as promised. You know, so that is what we are bringing to the table, and we know there's a huge market for it. In Abuja, everybody, most people we've interacted with want developers that they can trust, developers that respect their money. The problem we've had in Abuja particularly is that the developers here over the years have not respected the customer. They've not shown any respect for the money that people work hard for and they bring to you as a developer, you know, for you to deliver a product to them. People have not seen that at all. So we want to give the people something different. We want people to know that they can trust us. They can trust us with their money. We have their interest as being paramount. Yes, we want to make money. We're developers, but we also want them to get value for their money. So we intend to stay on that path, and we know that staying on that path in another 2-3 years will take over the larger share of the real estate market in the FCT. Well, I would advise young Nigerians to be innovative. We're in the era of innovation, so be innovative. There are a ton of problems every day for you to solve. And if you can be innovative enough to solve people's problems, then they'll pay you for it, as long as you also demand that you're paid for solving problems. So we're in the era of innovation. Whatever sector or industry you found yourself in, think outside the box, be innovative. Think, try to go to those places nobody is going to in your mind, and then come up with solutions that are unique and solutions that make you unique. And there is no stopping you. I've always said that Nigeria is a land of tremendous opportunity, where you have a whole lot of problems, you have a whole lot of solutions, and if you can grab your hands on any of those solutions, then you'll do very well.
All right, once a very big thank you, sir, for making that time to be with us.
You're welcome.
Out of your position, we really appreciate your contribution.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.